You are listening to episode 78 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you are created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tienel. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Hey, podcast listeners, I am so happy to have you with me today. Thanks so much for spending your time with me. Yeah, whether you are driving or out on a walk or really just kind of focusing on what I'm having to say, I hope that this blesses you in some way. And if it does, drop me a line, let me know. Go ahead and DM me on Instagram or send me a direct email. I love to hear back from you and what your takeaways were or how it affected your life in any way. It's so inspiring as I try to inspire you to take action in your life and to make the changes that you want to see. I also love to hear from you, and it inspires me to keep going, right? Okay, I also want to take the beginning of this episode to just kind of address, in case there's some of you out there thinking about getting on a call with me, but not really sure how it works. And I just thought I would just tell you a little bit of the logistics to kind of have your mind imagine what it might be like. And hopefully it inspires you to take action, because then we can talk in person. And you can tell me what's going on in your life and what you're struggling with and how, exploring how life coaching and a life coach possibly could be something that you want to work towards having. Okay, so the calls, when I ask you all or offer that I, would love for you to come to a free call, it literally is that. I give you a calendar link to sign up, and it's always in the show notes of the podcast. And you can see that you click on this link and it takes you directly to my personal schedule. When you find a date and a time that's open, you get to sign up for a 30-minute call. And I just want you to know that it will direct you exactly what to do, what time zone you're on, what's available. And then it will be sending you reminder messages that you have this time set aside for yourself to come talk with me. And then when the time comes, there is a link that you click on with the Zoom application, the Zoom software, which is a video conferencing software. You will come on and you will then see me. And right away, we will just have a little bit of introduction to each other. But I want to jump right in to what it is that you have come to get from this call. What clarity do you want? What help do you want? And we will try and dive in and get that to you immediately. I love when you have something on the calendar, right, that kind of forces you or urges you or nudges you to concentrate on. So, for instance, I want to tell you that I have some kind of like technology back-end work in my business that I have not been able to focus on and get to, and I really want to. So in order to kind of give me that nudge to help me get it done, I went ahead and reached out to someone and scheduled a call. Now, because I have this call on the calendar, what is this going to do for me? Well, it's actually going to have me focusing on what it is that I want this person to help me with. Like, I will have to write some things down, ask myself some questions, evaluate, kind of assess the whole situation of the back end and the technology of my business. And so I know that I will already, by just having it on the calendar and committing to speaking with someone, it will have me kind of forcing and organizing myself into a way where I can have my goals. And if I didn't have this call with this person, I might delay it. I might put it off. I might say like, oh, I'll figure it out eventually. And then it might get to a place where something big and major happens that is not good for my business. But if I had taken the time to kind of see what it is that I wanted help with, then I would have been able to address it. So I love that I go ahead and make that commitment to someone. And then I know when I see it on my calendar, I'm like, oh, I've got to figure that out and do the list, because when I get to the person, they're going to ask me, what do you want help with? And I don't want to say, well, I don't know. Like, I want to already know that I'm going to come away from that call knowing what it is that I need help with. And then I'm going to assess if this is the person who I want to choose to help me with it. So that's what signing up for a call with me will do. If you have any piqued interest of what life coaching is about, how a life coach can help you, about just kind of someone to show you what's going on with stuff that you can't see yourself because you are just in it with your life, and then I would just urge you to go ahead and sign up, have that on the calendar, and then start thinking, what is it that you want help with? What do you think in the end of working with a life coach you want to have accomplished? And even from that one call, just kind of organizing that for yourself will be helpful. Okay, but now on to the meat of this podcast that I want to help you with. This one is about the darkness and the light that we have in our life. I had written an email to my list a few weeks back telling about this same concept between the darkness and the light, and I gave an example about from the story in my life where I've recently visited San Francisco and went to Alcatraz, the jail, and I had so much reaction to this email that it was something that I said, hey, I want my big, broader podcast audience to be able to benefit from this as well. So like I said, I went to Alcatraz. I visited and toured Alcatraz when I was on a trip to San Francisco. And when we were on the tour, there was this time when we went to, I guess, the even more maximum kind of prisoners kind of section of the jail. Actually, now that I'm talking out loud, this is where it was like the solitary confinement. And these were where the jailers were in the cells like all day and no light, and they couldn't come out, and they were just by themselves. And it was super, super dark, they said. And they allowed us, like, we actually could step physically in there. It was very eerie. And I remember my husband and I, we each took a turn, like stepping in, but I remember what the tour guide, which was just a voice coming through like a headset for in my ear, was talking about the actual jailers who were in that cell. And it had a voice of one kind of describing it. And what he described is saying that he would spend his time, like it was completely dark, just blackout, just like your eyes are open, but you see nothing. And he would explain that he would take his mind and imagine, sometimes there truly was like a teeny slither, but even if there wasn't, he would just imagine this small slither, that's how he described it, of light. And he said that he would concentrate on it and focus on it and just imagine it growing. And then when he did, when he got his mind focused on the light, it would get brighter and brighter and brighter. And then when he would, bring himself back to where he actually was, it's like it got all dark again. And I wrote an email kind of about that, kind of saying like, yeah, I was in jail, but I loved the idea of knowing that we are in a place in our life where sometimes it will feel dark. It will feel heavy. It will feel all closed out and like we're trapped, like ourselves are in a jail. Like We want so much to get out and we don't know how. And it's just a dark place. We all are going to experience that at one time or another. And some of us, it's longer. And some of us, we're lucky that it's, shorter spurts. But it's not like we won't ever have darkness. But it's in that time that I want to invite you that there is always in the darkness, some slither of light to take your mind and focus on and find. And it will grow. It will expand if you keep your mind on it. If you keep focused, if you look at it and then you imagine it growing, it will. So one of the ways I'd like to describe this darkness is I want to say that worry, fear, procrastination, self-destructive behavior, keeping our mind focused on the past. These are just a small sample of how we can make our life darker. And then we can expose ourselves in those times when you notice and aware that you are in a battle to not have worry and fear and procrastination and self-destruction and, just reliving past moments over and over and over again. And when we recognize this, we can then, if we know about the contrast of the darkness and the light, and we know that what we concentrate on actually grows, then in that moment, if we redirect our brain to anything that can bring us and draw you into the light. And some examples of this can be prayer, putting your mind towards prayer, reflection, drawing on memories that are good and positive and remembering about times when you did feel better. Meditation. Yes, I love to meditate on the phrase, Jesus, I trust in you. Jesus, I trust in you. And we, of course, know that if we can imagine that he's standing in front of us, just like the divine mercy where his hands are the lights coming from his palms, if we concentrate there, it'll just grow. We can read, we can read the Gospels, we can read other books that bring us more growing in our faith and positivity. We can do our work. I find that sometimes when I'm feeling in a dark place or I'm worrying about things, I can go to the work that I have, like how I'm doing today, where I concentrate on what is it that someone out there is suffering and how can I be help and a light to them? And then that brings my light brighter. I like to go on walks. What about authentically loving yourself? Whereas darkness for you could be your negative self-talk. It could be, the darkness also could be where you're hanging around toxic people, maybe people who are gossiping or bringing you down, or maybe they're complaining and negative naysayers. And then stepping towards the light would be paying attention to who you want to surround yourself with. If you're not in a dark place in your life right now, that's even more awesome for you to kind of take a look at this concept and decide if that's something that you wanted to apply when a more dark time comes to your life. Yeah. Sometimes when we're in a good place, it's the best way to learn something new and kind of dissect it for yourself and put it in, your memory bank so that you can grab it when the time comes. I'd love for you, when you maybe are experiencing something negative in your life, that you can recall, oh yes, remember that reminder Danielle said about when you're in a dark place, there's always the light to focus your mind to, even if it's a small slither, so that you can have it grow, kind of latch on to one positive thing that you can focus on and have it grow. And then if you're someone who's hearing this right now and you aren't in a great place and you want to be, you might say, I can't, or it's hard, or, I don't know how. I just want you to know that all of that is lies that your brain is telling you, that you're fully capable. And it won't feel natural or be easy at first. When I teach my clients that they need to redirect their brain, of course, it's going to fall back into the habits you've been thinking and have these patterns of belief that have come with repetition your whole life. But just like going to the gym, if you keep building the muscle, if you keep redirecting your brain, it does get easier. It does come more natural. And so right now, I want you to know that you fully, if you're not in a good place, you fully can focus and find one light. Take your mind, do something for you, grow the light. So much love and peace to you all. I will talk to you again next week. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Are you ready to take everything I teach you here and put it to work for your own life? To really learn how to have peace of mind no matter what is happening around you? If so, I'd love to have you as a client. As your coach, this is where you'll get personal and focused time on your own mind using life coaching tools, concepts, and proven life-transforming wisdom, all through a faith-filled lens. To learn more about how we can work together, come on over to danielleteenel.com. There, you'll see how to sign up for a free coaching consult and learn how to get started. Until next time, peace be with you always.